want to ask you another question. What are you doing with all the people you know that until this what was 5 or 6 years ago did not pay? You go take a car to where you're supposed to leader services, and the only thing you do is put in oil, whatever, as far as sales tax. Well, no, that was. But then they went up and said all servicing. You know that is very little done in the way of maintenance that require anything but manual labor, right? Most of it is in manual labor, whatever it costs you to do all this work. That's right. So what did they do with all that extra money that they've been getting for all these years that they're moaning and groaning and kissing and griping about? They don't have any money. Oh, it's still screwed. It's added up. It's confusing. We'll go straight half the time. It happened to me. I don't know how to. Okay, I guess there is no Kelly. She said nothing about it. Okay. I think I'm gonna sing first thing this morning.
Please don't.
Oh,
I had a late night. How about you?
oh, I was actually asleep fairly early last night, and this is like we just people tuning in like, oh, they've been talking for the last hour or something. Yeah, we have, but the mics weren't open. Okay, we're live now.
We're live.
Well, there we go, live and local. Welcome into Live and Local, Real Talk, and we're here today, and we got a things going on, and
We
we got a couple of fine guests coming in today. We got Sheriff coming in.
Yes.
The sheriff is in town.
Yes.
So
he's going to be in the house today.
he will be in the house this morning at about 7:30. Now we got a bunch of questions to ask him. So if you got something you want us to ask him, or if it's when we get on the air, I'll tell you what our topic today is. It's going to be cold cases. There's one cold case. Cold cases are unsolved, quite often murders or other heinous crimes, and this one involves a murder from 2016. And so it's 9 years old now, and they're looking. They have lots of clues, but they don't have the clue, the one to put the nail in the coffin of the other individual that what done it. So we're going to talk to him about cold cases in general, but this one specifically, and see if there's anything that maybe y'all can do to help. That's what the purpose of him coming in here for is today. So if you got something else you want to talk about, would like us to ask him this morning, given the time, we will do it. But you need to give us a call now and tell us what it is, or call, or send us a text message, or an email, or a Facebook, or we've even got a place out here, carrier pigeon can land. If you've got a helicopter and you want to deliver it by that's fine. You could probably send it to Amazon, and they could have it here before the show's over.
Won't be long.
Yeah.
It won't be long.
Have we said who we are?
No, we have not.
I'm Rayford Brown.
And I'm Lee Barrows.
And Kelly is in training today.
Yes.
So anyway, she's entering the Olympics, I believe, according to reliable sources.
100-yard dash.
Yeah. So she's going to be doing that in a couple of years.
There.
So that's what she's in training for this week, often at different times of the day, each day. Okay, we're going to be talking about the biggest topic in the room, of course, throughout the morning. No doubt about that as we get around to it. But first of all, remind you that we're red flag warning. We in South Carolina are still under do not burn thing. Don't burn it outside.
Don't burn.
And because if you do, you're likely to burn the neighborhood down. Good possibility. Or some valuable woods. We don't want to see woods on fire either. So keep that stuff to yourself. So it'll be raining tomorrow, so you can do it tomorrow. Burn in the rain.
I think it's not supposed to start till the afternoon, but still.
That's the time to burn.
But, we need the rain.
We do definitely need that. We'll talk about that too as we go along. Another sad story, though.
Oh, no.
Just before noon on the 21st, that's been, 10 days ago now,
Yes.
64-year-old Lawrence Miner of Jacksonville riding his bicycle along Western Boulevard. He was struck by a motorist. The motorist did not stop. He drove away. Mr. Miner was being treated at an area hospital, and unfortunately, he passed away yesterday. Jacksonville police are asking for assistance in locating the motorist. I can't see how he did not know that he hit the guy, but, I guess that's a possibility. The wreck happened on Friday, the 21st, at about 11:30 in the morning. If you were out there on Western Boulevard in the area of Gateway Drive South and Marlin Drive, and you saw anything suspicious, you saw somebody maybe take it off from a location, you may not have even seen that somebody was hit on the bike. But if you saw something, color of the car, kind of car, or anything like that, and if you've got any dash camera video of that area, like so many people do these days, take a look-see. Even if you didn't notice it yourself at the time, about 11:30 on Western Boulevard between Gateway Drive South and Marlin Drive, that's over there in the neighborhood of Marine Chevrolet. That's about in that general location. So if you do something, if you have any information that might help the police locate this driver, please call the Jacksonville Police Department at 910-455-4000, 910-455-4000. You can also reach out to the investigator, in this case, Officer Patterson. Email address, the initial I, the letter I is in India, Patterson, Patterson. That's I, Patterson, Pat, at Jacksonville, NC.gov. You can also call Crime Stoppers Anonymous. You don't have to leave a name. You don't have to identify yourself. You don't have to leave a telephone number. It's totally anonymously. 910-938-3273. You put this number in your speed dial, because one day something may happen that you would, you see something really weird. 910-938-3273. It's a great organization.
That's Crime Stoppers?
That's Crime Stoppers. They will not ask you your name. If you want to give it because you want to, go and testify, if it moves you that much, that's fine. You can do that too. But rewards of up to $5,000 is cash are given for information that helps law enforcement in serious crimes. And whether it's this crime or something else that that's going on, that these guys in the place, the apartment or house next door to yours, they're dealing in heavy amounts of drugs. Call this number. If you don't want to get involved directly, you live in the neighborhood, so you might not want them to know who you are. 910-938-3273.
All right, I've got it.
When you call, they will assign you a case number, a number for you to have. It's a Crime Stoppers number for you. They will give that to you. You write it down on a chunk of paper somewhere, and you can check. If you hear that suddenly some dude's been arrested and you give information about this hit and run, and somebody gets arrested for it, so all you've got to do then is reach out, call them again and say, am I the one that's entitled to that reward if you so desire?
Right.
And they would say, go to such and such a location. It's a bank. Pull up to the drive-through. Tell them that number. They all know that what it is. And they will have a code there that they will walk you out some money. They won't write any license numbers down. They won't make any notification. They won't do anything except hand you some cash. It will be between you and your conscience whether you list this as income on your federal income reporting time. And I'm sure you won't. This is totally anonymous, and there's nobody going to come after you. Okay?
Well, I would hope. I mean, having that reward is fantastic.
Yes, it is.
It's a great incentive. But I hope that people, if somebody saw what happened with this accident, well, with what happened,
The hit and run
the hit and run, and that
involving a
they
fatality.
they step up to the plate.
Yeah. The Now, let me tell you this. There are some cases, and I'm not saying that this is the case. I do not know. I actually was behind on Carolina Beach, on the south side of Carolina Beach, south end, coming up from Curie Beach, headed home. And there was a vehicle in front of me, and they were just cutting the fool with each other, talking around, how people do, young folks do quite often in cars, paying no attention whatsoever. And there was a bicyclist. He was riding right on the shoulder, but close enough that he was close enough. That's a narrow road. He was close enough that the vehicle clipped him, or he clipped the vehicle. Depends upon how you look at it. But he kept on going. The guy falls off. I rolled the window down. He's standing up very quickly, but he falls off the bike. Bike's knocked over. He falls off. I rolled the passenger window down. You okay, dude? Yeah, I'm fine. I said, hang right there. Police will be with you. I'm okay. I said, stay right there. And I called up to the vehicle, got the tag number. Of course, I had my radio, so I called it in to Carolina Beach. And
Sure.
of course, they grabbed him in about 2 seconds. Carolina Beach is not that big, especially when you got somebody on high traffic time, and you're going to have to, you got 28 traffic lights, not that many, but you're going to get stopped. So he got pulled over. I don't know what it was, but I went down as a witness, and the guy was not hurt. That's the good thing. So it was not a felony. When you're hurt and you leave the scene, when somebody that you hit is hurt and you leave that scene, it's called a felony.
Yes.
Period. Bottom line.
Yes.
Felonious hit and run, that means it's involving an injury. If it involves a person who dies, it's going to be escalated.
I wonder if it was somebody coming out from one of those doctor's offices.
Who knows?
Who knows? That's
Who
what
knows?
could be somebody cutting through.
Whatever. Okay. That's the story there.
That's a sad story.
It is a sad story.
I knew him, but not on a personal level. He went by Larry. But because when it happened, I was like, I know him. But he's been around for a long time. But yeah, sad.
It also brings up the part here, and we have people on bikes, and they're encouraged to ride bikes. There are bike lanes in some areas. But,
I would not ride a bike anywhere around this town.
I got mixed. Nope. I've got mixed reviews on bike lanes. Okay.
Yes.
I'm in favor of them. Howsoever more.
I am too.
Who is supposed to pay for them? The Department of Motor Vehicles generally puts them in, or a city if it's inside the city on a city-maintained street.
Right.
But who's to pay for them?
City does an excellent job with bike trails and bike lanes.
Who is supposed to pay for them?
Well, I guess we do if it's in the city limits.
Yeah,
because
Department of Transportation puts them in the outside the cities and stuff, right?
Oh, you don't even want to talk about the Department of Transportation.
Who pays that? Who pays for it?
I would think we do.
Oh, the people who drive cars.
That's right.
And fill up with gasoline pay for those bike trails, bike lanes.
Right.
I think personally, I know they're going to hate me, and including my neighbor. But if there are going to be bike lanes, which I really think there should be bike lanes for the safety of the bikers, but should they pay for them? Should the bikers pay for them? How does that come under the Department of Transportation, where drivers
What's the difference in somebody walking then? Are you going to make them pay for it? Because they're walking.
You need to get a tag and wear it around your neck if you're going to be out there walking.
I will say, you talk about the dangers of...
That's for sidewalks.
Yes, you talk about the dangers of walking along the road and using bike lanes. I told you that generally, I did not see him this morning, but every morning coming in...
You're concerned.
I see an older gentleman out walking, and he's on the shoulder. He's I guess would be the bike lane walking. And I was so proud of him because he finally got a reflective vest and started wearing that, but it still worries me.
The folks who, at nighttime or early morning, especially if they're out
Right.
walking. A lot of people in the summertime like to walk early
Right.
because it's less hot.
Yes, it's less hot.
It's less hot at that time. But
It's lesser.
at 5 o'clock or in the morning before the sun actually comes up, and it might be twilight. I don't
Right.
care. Drivers have got their headlights on,
Right.
but you can't see these people
Well, generally when
unless they got a reflective vest on.
I'm making a left turn onto Country Club, and that's when I generally see
Mhm.
him. And I try to put it into my mind, muscle memory there, to look for him every single morning. And he was not out. Yeah, he was out there yesterday. Did not see him
Mm.
today. But, you got to be careful.
You do?
It could take 1 second of your attention being deflected elsewhere.
It could.
And next thing you know, you've hit somebody. So
Yeah.
it's horrible.
It's sad, and bikers, motorcycle riders,
Yes.
they have to run their headlights during
Right.
the day, okay, even during daylight hours,
Right.
and they have to wear helmets. In
Mhm.
North Carolina, they protest quite often. I go down to Bike Week in South Carolina. They had 7 fatalities there in 1 week with motorcycles involved
Yes.
for people who were not wearing their helmets in the city limits of Myrtle Beach
Yes.
years ago. I remember that. That was the deadliest week ever.
Yeah. It's
I-
Bike Week in Florida right now, Daytona.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
They
It's
don't
Bike Week
they
all
didn't
the time
require-
there.
They don't require or did not require helmets at that time. I can understand folks wanting to get out there and be free and ride, but it's for your own safety.
And you bring up a good point, because I think it was yesterday or it could have been Friday. You got onto the subject of seatbelts.
Same
Remember,
thing.
we used to never have to wear them. As kids growing up, we would lay in the back windshield of the
We did.
car, take a nap or whatever. And I remember the resistance to wanting to put the seatbelt on, because like everything else in life, you have the pros and cons.
Yep.
But I do not feel safe unless I have my seatbelt on.
Well,
It's the first thing I do when I get in.
it is not a guarantee. And there are going to be those individuals
Life
who are
is
going
not
to
a
say,
guarantee.
did you hear about the car that ran under the back of the big tractor trailer rig that was stopped in the road?
Mhm, yeah.
And the car went underneath, and the guy was trapped inside his car because he had a seatbelt on.
That's ridiculous.
Never mind that he hit the back end of that tractor
Yeah.
trailer that did not move, that was running at 80 miles an hour.
Exactly. That's why he was trapped.
He was trapped in the car. Well, yeah, his body was tied in the car because he was already dead.
I
But you
imagine.
hear those kinds of stories. Well, and then I say, well, did you hear about the car that rolled over, had 3 people in it at Carolina Beach? Because I had to go do that one. It's on the north end of Carolina Beach. I had to
Ugh.
shoot that one for the patrol
Right.
before that was in this town limits. And it was at a place called Forte's Restaurant at the intersection of Dow and Carolina Beach Road, 421. I get there, and the 2 guys that were alive, they were okay. They were hurt, but they were okay. It flipped several times, rolled over and over and over. And the guy said, "Where's so-and-so? Where's so-and-so? Where's Joe? I don't know. How many were you in the car?" He said, 3 of us. I said, "Well, we got 2 of you. Where's the other one? Was he driving?" "No, he was a
Been up
passenger.
tree.
He was a passenger. Where is he?" Well, we looked. Fire department was there. They got a ladder out, went to the roof, and that's where I had to go finish the last one. He was dead.
Gosh, on
He
the
was-
roof?
He was thrown from the car rolls, and it doesn't just roll over and over. It was bouncing
Right.
and it bounced, and door came open, and he went out. He was on the roof. Yes, absolutely. So, duh.
Yeah, it's life choices. You choose. If you choose not to wear a seatbelt and you get thrown through the windshield, I've seen one of those happen.
You're playing the odds, people. You're playing the odds
odds.
every time. How about the plane that had the sudden nosedive the other day? People were on the ceiling when the plane was there. Okay, it was going down so fast that they were floating and hit the ceiling and were injured. A number of people were hurt when they were riding on the ceiling going down.
Yeah. I mean, they had their
recovered. The plane recovered, but if they had been strapped in like they're supposed to be, even though they have said you can take the seatbelt sign off now, why?
How do you wear a seatbelt the whole time? You're on the plane?
Absolutely,
I
unless
do too.
I got to get up and make a head call, and then I'll look outside. How smooth is the sailing right now? Do
I
I see
have
any
mine on.
airplanes anywhere nearby? Make this sucker a quick trip.
I try not to get up. Only one time ever during through my flying time did I ever get up to go use the facilities.
I've done it a few
And
times.
it was I was sitting there with my legs crossed so tight. I was like, just do it, you'll be all right. But I try not to even get up out of the seat for anything.
Well, I used not to, and that 4-hour flight that I was doing every year from Hotlanta down to Bonaire,
yes,
that's a long flight.
yeah,
And you're on the plane for 30 minutes or so before you take off. Then you still got 4 hours to fly, and then you got 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes to get off the plane.
right.
You can get off.
Right,
Then
right.
you got to go through the line of people out there. Well, anyway, I had a blood clot in my right leg, not
Oh,
during the flying or anything
Right.
like that, but at another time. And the doctors and the people who worked on me at that point in time said, listen, one of the big things here is people who sit a lot and don't get up. Like I was doing the show at that time too, and they said, get up from time to time, please. Okay. Sometimes y'all will see me just stand up for a second. That gets the blood flowing. And sometimes if you're sitting and you feel your foot getting cold, because there's circulation that is being lost. Oh, gotcha. And those blood clots are kind of nasty and extremely lethal if things go wrong. So
yes, yes,
just
yes.
to let
Most
you know,
definitely. They
we got
can
to
kill you.
we got to get us a couple of doctors on here again.
Yes, we do.
It's,
We need to get
it's
Dr.
March.
Abrams.
It's March time. It's heart month, so it's
Yes.
the time.
That was last month, February. February
February?
was National Heart Month.
Isn't it cardiac month this month?
If you wanted to be, but it's
Uh-huh.
February's Heart Month. But it's
We'll
never
get him
too
in there
late.
anyway.
I need you to get him in here because I keep trying to call and I forget to do it. Last year when he came on and he talked about, especially women are at a higher rate for heart attack. Women are at a higher
Cause
rate
heart attacks. What are you talking about?
for cardiac illnesses and events. And he was talking about a test that they can give you. It's a very simple test to kind of take a look at your heart and see what you're
Just in
looking
case
at.
there are issues.
I mean,
And as you get older, you might want to do that. But
Yes.
don't become. I had a heart attack, and I was not even 50.
right.
Okay, and
Well,
I was
my
extremely
dad-
active.
My dad had a heart attack in his 60s, 70s. And I mean, it's just like, why not you go to the doctor for a checkup every year, right?
Okay.
Why not go to a heart doctor and have
That's
your
it.
heart checked?
All right. Forecasters warn that an elevated fire danger continues in the Carolinas, North and South Carolina, and there's little relief today in the form of rain. That could change by Wednesday. Meanwhile, offshore today, out to 20 nautical miles, gale watch goes into effect late tonight. Will remain in effect through late Wednesday night. Southeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots today, seas 2 to 4 feet, sounds and rivers of moderate chop. It will get worse, and that will be tomorrow.
Yes.
Waking up to southerly winds tomorrow, 25 to 35 knots with a gust to 45 knots. That's about 52, 53 miles per hour, y'all. Seas 8 to 11 feet, building to 11 to 15 feet in the afternoon. Oh boy, rock and roll near shore, 7 to 10 footers.
Ooh.
Building, going to get bigger. Want to go
Bigger?
watch it? Go out on the fishing pier.
No.
You can. I'm not. I know.
Pier sways.
I watched the fishing pier collapse during a hurricane. The end of it, anyway. No, not going. They'll build at 9 to 13 in the afternoon tomorrow. Sounds and rivers very rough. Thursday, still blustery. Westerly winds 20 to 25 knots, gust to 35 knots, seas 6 to 9 feet, 5 to 7 near shore. Sounds and rivers rough.
And today will be mostly sunny with a high near 67. Light winds becoming gusty and gustiness.
Mhm.
Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low of 54. Showers and thunderstorms. Some of the storms could be severe and produce heavy rainfall. High near 69. Breezy with winds 15 to 22 with a gust as high as 34. Thursday, partly cloudy, partly sunny with a high near 54. To go back and fix my weather. I messed it up. But anyway, and this is National
Irish month.
Weather Preparedness Week.
Severe weather month.
Yes, and tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. there will be a statewide tornado drill.
It's
And
more fun to
what's
do it with no
weird-
notice. Tomorrow's we're going to have severe weather.
What's weird is
Potential.
we're predicting severe storms to
Uh-huh.
come through tomorrow afternoon into the evening.
Wouldn't that be a mess?
And then tomorrow morning, we're going to do a drill all in the same day. And I'm like, maybe we should bump that drill up to today.
Too late now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just call it a surprise drill. That's
Yes,
more
I
fun.
have to fix my weather somehow.
Not sure that the president, ours, is making the smartest move, even if he's trying to play hardball with Ukraine's President Zelensky. It was revealed yesterday that President Trump has decided to withhold all military aid to Ukraine without notice. It's easy to understand wanting to react when there's an argument, like happened last week, but when the reaction could make a joint enemy of both the United States and Ukraine feel pretty good about themselves, I'm trying to understand the rationale. What the administration is calling a pause also includes weapons already in Poland waiting to be shipped and weapons that are in transit on ships headed that way. Not going to get them, Mr. Ukraine. Trump expressed displeasure when Zelensky mentioned that the end of the war with Russia remains very, very far away. Why would Zelensky make such a statement? That makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever.
I saw that too, and I was like,
With efforts of both the United States and other countries to expedite the end of the war, that was probably not the smartest thing to be saying. The war has cost a lot of countries a lot of money, including us. We've spent a lot of money over there. Likely at the top of the list is the United States for spending money. For the past year or so, even though the United States has continued to support Ukraine, more of our fellow Americans are becoming disenfranchised. The Russian invasion began 3 years ago. Almost all free nations have supported Ukraine in its defense, even though it's not a member of NATO. The current and previous administrations have opposed allowing Ukraine into NATO. Obviously, Russia is strongly opposed to NATO countries inviting or allowing Ukraine as a member nation. Russia, of course, feels threatened if NATO countries would assist with military assets in the war if Ukraine could become a member. They're not going to. The number of casualties for the two sides is disputable. Safe to say, after averaging out all the numbers that have been produced, that there are as many as 1.5 million dead and wounded from both sides. Trying to find out what the monetary support has cost taxpayers, impossible. While it's important to keep Russia in check, given the fact that Russia is much more powerful and can likely stay involved in a lengthy engagement, what can we realistically expect as an outcome? Zelensky should, by all rights, work with Trump to reach a ceasefire agreement, get all sides to the table to work on some sort of solution and end this blasted war. It's been going on almost as long as World War II did for the United States already. Neither Russia nor Ukraine is likely to get everything it would like, and prolonging the war for another 3 years will not help. Another 3 years. About 1.5 million casualties, that's dead, wounded. Is it worth it to any of those involved? Above my pay grade, I don't have a clue. And I will remind you one more time, there have been a lot of people died on both sides. This is in 3 years. In 10 years in Vietnam, we lost 58,000 Americans. In 10 years. 58,000. In 3 years, there have been, by all accounts, somewhere in the neighborhood of 750,000 people killed. The math is not working for me. Somebody needs to get off the pot and get this situation, get her done.
I just sure hope there's a method to all this madness with all this right now.
There's too much
Between
madness to go along with
Zelensky and Trump, and we don't need this right now, in my opinion. We need to all work together. We need to end this war. Let's get out of it.
I think we just need to, I think we need to leave it to the sheriff of Onslow County to go figure it and get her done.
I'm gonna tell you what, if it was up to him, it had already been over with.
A little bit out of my jurisdiction over there.
Well, so what? You can claim extraterritorial jurisdiction. That little ETJ,
Right.
what do you think?
ETJ, yes. Yes.
Sheriff Chris Thomas in the house with us.
Yeah, so good to see you again.
How are you?
I'm good. How y'all doing this morning?
We're hanging in here. First, before we get started on what we got you, we asked you to come in for. Thank you again, twice now, in the last month or so, from the Amateur Radio Club, Onslow Amateur Radio Group here in Jacksonville, Onslow County. A bunch of hams they are. And we are. We claim
Yes, they are. I will
Ham's
agree
by
to that.
definition.
it. And, probably you don't know where the word ham came from.
I do not.
Very, very few hams know where it came from. Actually, the first three guys, and don't ask me to give you all their names of the first guys, they all got together. They came up with this whole deal to start this thing called amateur radio and go out. And many of them were engineers and broadcast stations at the time. Calling them amateurs is probably the biggest misnomer there's ever been, if you ever get to know them. But first guy's name was Hiram, and I forgot the other two, but their initials were HAM, and that's where they came up with it. How about that?
Makes sense.
In case you ever get on Jeopardy.
Makes sense.
Dun, 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 dun.
But anyway, we thank you for the use of
Yes.
the facilities, the one of the buildings out there at the training range area for the sheriff's office. Nice little warehouse you got there. It's got enough room
It
for a
is.
couple of cots there. I could go out there when I need to.
Have you
Meetings.
actually finished it?
We're close to finishing it. We've got a few issues with the fence that we need to get straightened out, and got a couple of cameras we got to get straightened out. I hope to have a grand opening sometime the end of April, maybe.
Okay,
Yeah, so we need to go.
To show the facility off. We've been working on it for 3 years now.
Nice.
We're training out there now, but it's just not 100% of where we want it to be before we do the opening.
Well,
Good.
You've got multiple buildings out there. You've got three.
We do. We have a classroom building that has 2 classrooms in it. We have a range houses, which are storage houses for our shooting range.
Mhm.
And we have a warehouse, which is what we let the ham
Right.
operators go to. And the other is a simunition house. It's for live simunition training. It's a 3-story modular deal.
Live simunition.
Yes, we actually
Explain
shoot
that.
simunition at each other. You can, it hurts, but it's not,
Lethal.
it's not lethal. It's just for training. It leaves a painful
Reminder that you should
reminder.
duck.
Exactly. You should pay attention. It is as close as we can get to actual live situations.
Without drawing blood.
Yes,
That's good.
exactly.
All right, good. Yeah, that's
Wow.
a nice looking facility too from the outside. I haven't been into either of the other two, but it's,
Well, the simunition house, we've also got a jail set up inside.
oh, really?
So when we
I don't want to go there.
Yeah, when we do our DOCC or detention officer certification training,
Oh, okay.
we can do all the training at that facility now. We don't have to
That's excellent.
move them to the jail and move inmates to make room for training. We can do it all right there on one spot.
Source on the inside of the sheriff's office up in the jailhouse area says that the really bad people, since this place has got a fence all the way around it, and you got this jail out there as well, that you could put the really bad guys when they're not playing right upstairs. You can take them out there and just leave them for a week, all by themselves.
No, that'd be a bad idea.
I do want
Probably a
to.
good idea, but you can't do it.
I do want to. Sheriff's office. Your social media has so increased.
Oh, yeah.
The videos, the reels, the stories. I mean, there's days that I'll see one, I'll just sit there and smile or laugh at it. Outstanding job. Outstanding. I think
That's,
Trevor has really, helped bring it along and to what's going on now. But the reels are fantastic.
he's
Good
doing
job.
He's doing a really good job. We stole him from the media
Yes.
and got him working for us.
I
But
think you saved him from the media.
he seems really
Put it that way.
happy working with us. And we got some big things coming up in that area. We've got a sheriff's app that's been up.
Yes, I remember you saying
And
that.
it will be, if you choose to, you can download the app.
Oh,
You
I
can
will.
get notifications, and that's everything from arrest
really?
to emergency situations. traffic issues, like if there's a bad accident on Piney Green, and we can send an alert out that you might want to avoid this area until traffic clears
Yes,
up.
yes.
That's good.
Things of that nature,
he-
and also weather.
And I noticed that he will post some of that
He
information
does.
as it comes across. Like,
For
you know,
safety.
you might not want to go 258, 53, find an alternate route right now. There's been a 6-vehicle pileup or whatever. So it's been
That's good.
very informative, and I try to share it to our page when I see it. So,
Yeah.
He's doing pretty
But
good with
it's good.
that. And he's doing a segment too, introducing our SROs to everybody.
yes, I get that every
And
day.
Folks like that. And it's
Yeah.
get to
Yes.
know who's at their child's school.
Yep,
So,
absolutely.
I get that by
that's good.
text every day.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, another one.
Now, which sparked information last week, got a release from Sheriff's Office that said that, I didn't realize it had been quite that long. 2016.
Yep, December 18th, 2016.
That's almost 9 years ago, 8.5 years ago now. And,
Please, we've got to
one of
find
the
out.
Oswego County's residents, one of the stranger cases, I can't say the strangest case, but one of the stranger, like this long going unsolved cases for
Me,
unless it's just it's strange. It's weird. Gary Morton.
having the information we have on the case and it being this long is strange to me.
Mm-hmm.
We're confident in the leads that we have. We're confident in the direction that it's carrying us, but
Mhm.
we just need a little more
We
information
do that final little,
to tie all the dots together.
Mhm.
And Mr. Morton lived not far from here.
I know.
He's
Been for Old 30.
native of here. He grew up on Piney Green when Piney Green was 2-lane highway,
Mhm.
and he's just a well-known figure. Nice guy, helped a lot of folks. He owned rental property.
Yep.
And it's odd how the call came out to us. It came out as a B&E call originally at his residence. We go to that residence. Well, almost at the same time, we got a call of suspicious activity over off Cypress Court on Gum Ranch Road.
Hmm.
Obviously responded to 2 separate calls, not knowing they were related. When we got to the call at Mr. Morton's, the people there expressed concern they couldn't find him.
It's a nice home.
Yep, very,
Mhm.
very nice
He
home.
lived alone.
He lived in the home, but he rented out. It's a very large home. He
Okay.
set it up where he could rent out rooms on
Gotcha.
the upper floor. So one of the tenants is actually one of the callers.
Okay.
But while we were there investigating that, the other deputies responded to the suspicious activity and found stolen property at that location that came from Mr. Morton's.
Oh,
So that tied them both together. And it was some days before Mr. Morton was found on the property. He had,
well, you found his truck for us too.
we found his truck. We were able to track his truck fairly well through the city, through traffic cameras.
Okay, gotcha.
Things of that nature. But once it got
Was he
on the-
driving it?
You couldn't tell who was
Okay.
driving.
Shoot.
Once it got to the other side of town, it obviously fell off the cameras.
Mhm.
And some days later, we got a call. An individual actually that was flying a drone lost his drone and
Oh.
went down in the woods looking for the drone and came up upon his vehicle.
So it was a heavily wooded area?
It was near by a creek where people used to drive down into and go
Okay.
fishing. It had
Okay.
grown up with foliage, and he found it
In December,
there.
not a lot of people going down there fishing.
Not a lot of people going down there fishing, and the vehicle had been burned.
Oh, okay.
I thought I was going to ask you
yeah.
that. I thought I
Now,
remembered.
if I remember correctly, there was a dog involved.
I was just going to ask.
There were 2 dogs. One was recovered and had died as a result of being shot. The other one has not
Really?
been located. So
Never been located.
never been located.
Where did you find the dog that was shot?
It was on the property.
Okay.
On the property. I had some real fine details I can't get into,
Sure,
obviously,
yeah.
because we're still.
Yeah, and some folks, in any law enforcement investigations, they're going to withhold some information all the way up to trial in some cases to exclude individuals who they don't want to be waylaid here. You just don't want them to send you down a wrong rabbit hole.
And folks will sometimes, but
Yeah.
I want to emphasize that, if you have information that you think has anything to do with
Please,
Mr.
yes.
Morton, call us.
Yeah.
Just call us and share it with us. If it's something not useful, we'll thank you for it and notate it, but it may very well be something that's useful to us.
Cold case files. Okay, now, so you found the body on his property,
Mhm.
but he had apparently probably died at that time of the B&E, the break-in.
Our information, he died the day of the event.
Cause of death?
trauma and gunshot.
Hmm.
So,
Jeez.
yeah.
Well, Sheriff, correct me if I'm wrong, but did I just not read? Did I read this past week where maybe there is some additional information that's come forward?
We have received some information recently that has spurred us to try to put this out, to try to get more people to call in. And I really can't go into details on what it
we
is,
wouldn't
but
want
we
you.
have received information recently.
I hope so.
That helps confirm the direction we're going in.
You know, and I'm not going to try to give away anything because I don't know anything, but a lot of folks will say, "Oh God, is this a random? We got to worry about this. Was this targeted?"
It was targeted, yes.
So the public is supposedly not at large. I mean, not at risk.
Well, you know,
There's a bad guy.
There's always at risk
Yeah.
a bad guy that is out there that will shoot somebody.
Yeah.
So I can't say there's no risk, but it was a targeted situation.
If you've got any information, you know anything, regardless of whether you think is worthwhile or not, ring them up. There are a million numbers you can get, but the number you can always remember is 910-455-3113.
And
You can also do Crime Stoppers.
You can also do Crime Stoppers, and they'll offer a reward.
Mhm.
We have for probably since 2016 or 2015. I have an interest in cold cases. They're fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And I currently have a retired detective who works part-time for us that works cold cases. His name's John Dubois.
Oh, yeah.
And also a full-time detective, Jessica Mendoza. They work on the cold cases we have. So they may be cold, but they're not inactive. But we keep trying to, revisit. And
Cold just means they're old.
Cold just means they're old. And Mr. Morton's case has never been inactive. It's always been assigned to a detective. We always are listening and trying to review what we have to see if we've missed anything.
Cold cases are always interesting to me is because you can put another set of eyes on it 6 months, a year, 2 years later, looking at the same information that looked, okay, well, I looked at this and said, yada, 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 yada. Okay, I got that. And somebody else goes back and says, wait, whoa, that little tidbit there, it looked like a needle in a haystack, but
that happens.
That might be interesting.
I find also that technology changes in a rapid.
Yeah.
We solved a murder that happened in, I think it was 83. Detective Dubois, myself, an NCI agent. We pulled John pulled the evidence that we, and we submitted it to the Army lab in Georgia.
Oh.
And they tested it for us, and they actually found blood on the clothing, and the blood ended up matching our victim's blood. Well, back in 83, the folks who worked it, they knew who the suspect was, but it just did not have what it needed to be. Well, when we found that trace evidence and got a DNA match, we were able to carry that individual to court, and he's now in prison.
Is that the one that ended up marrying the victim's wife, or?
No, that was in the 70s. That was a Marine that got out and became a police chief or a police officer
yes,
somewhere.
that's right.
Schrader.
No, Marcus Schrader was the guy that killed 4 women that we know about here.
Yeah.
That's right.
2 bank robberies and a couple of
This guy
teenagers.
ended up being a police chief in another town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't recall the name.
He was a suspect right up front. He shot a guy with an M16 out here in Western and near 17. Yeah, I did that one too.
Yeah.
And,
It's on Western Boulevard at 17.
Right. Just shy of 17, and it's a 223 or 5.56, and I don't know whether they ever tied the weapon in or not, but there are a million of those around here, obviously.
Right.
A lot.
Yeah, and there are those who go missing from time to time. Sometimes they were found later, and it's just like, oh, sorry, I forgot to turn this back in. But in this case, chased him later on, years later, got him, tried him, convicted him. And then it went out to Court of Appeals, as I recall.
Yep.
And they said, nope.
Yep, they overturned it. I forgot the reason they overturned it.
I forgot it too.
I think it was a Jacksonville PD case, but Ernie Lee prosecuted it. And
I think it was actually, that was in the county at the time.
Still in the county then?
Because I knew it was not my turf, but I got called out there to assist.
I recall it being overturned. So.
Well, you have another one like in your, it's not the evidence room, it's the room where you do a lot of testing, crime testing or whatever, and you've got the figurehead of a woman
Yep.
that was a murder that's still yet to be solved.
Well, it's she's unidentified. We were
Oh, really?
yeah, she
That's
was
right.
discovered off of Bear Creek, back over that way in
What
a
year?
wooded area. I don't recall the year. It was in like 90,
Oh, okay.
91. So it's been
Won't be who I was thinking. Then.
it's been quite a long time. We DNA on it. We have tried to do geno DNA, trying to track down families, and we've not been successful. And we've actually featured it as well, and we'll be featuring it again, trying to stir some information on it. But that one, we don't know who she is. We don't have a missing person report that fits that area.
Wow.
That's right.
We've got the genealogy and the DNA, and we know, you can do traits like eye color and hair color, and so we have all those things. That's why the mock-up looks like it does that we have there. And it was done by the FBI. But we have not been successful in finding anybody. We felt like we had tracked her to a home in a place in Florida, but it turned out not to be her. So she's still unidentified.
Way back when, I don't know about in the 90s because I wasn't here, but way back when there were so many transits coming in here from other areas, they were actually brought in and violated federal statutes for the purposes of prostitution, particularly on pay weekends. Remember it well. The town was flooded with strangers.
Yep.
There they were. But I don't know whether that was happening in the 90s or not.
Oh, it was happening in the 90s. Technology has changed that activity quite a bit, because a lot of the communication on is done on social media platforms now. So you don't have individuals walking, the street under circumstances like that. But we still have human trafficking in North Carolina and in Jacksonville as well, Onslow County, and we work those cases also.
Now, aren't you tied in with the task force that covers Wilmington and a couple other counties on that?
We are. It's an FBI task force. It's the Human Trafficking Task Force. We are. The city is. NCIS is. A lot of agencies in this area all participate in it. So
very good.
Any other cold cases that I know the other one you're talking about, Queens Creek. Any other?
Yeah, we're still working the Smallwood case, which happened years ago. J.D. Smallwood was murdered in his home. There's several. Some are so old that there's just literally nothing there's nothing left to work on. A few of them are old enough that the family and the perpetrators are probably deceased, but still doesn't mean we're going to forget about them.
We've generally missing persons. The folks turn up here, there, or everywhere. There's no requirement that you got to check in with your family or that you got to do anything else as long as you're of age. But a lot of those cases, missing persons, they may be missing and they may be deceased. They may have been killed somewhere here, there, or I mean, we've got a big ocean. We got all sorts of places here. We've got actually two really infamous, a brother and sister case, the Yoli children before your time.
Oh,
I was just a child. It happened out there near Holiday City Mobile Home Park area. They disappeared from there.
Were the two children?
Two children.
Yes, that's a case that we still have. We've actually had some individuals call us. One gentleman called us, and he thought he might be the boy that was missing, but was not. He had some issues that he was trying to work through, and led him to believe that he may be that particular child. But we've looked at several leads on it, and it has been a long time now. And
the last one that I recall of any consequence, and it didn't happen that many years ago. I think Ed Brown was still sheriff at the time. He may have been a detective, but he was in the sheriff's office at the time. The call came in from the wife, the recent widow of a gentleman up in Onslow County. Don't remember the name. I don't think it was ever released, but she said her husband had died recently, and he had told her that he had kidnapped those two. and put him in a marl pit up in the Belgrade area. And of course, there would have been no way to find the remains if that was the case. But there was a search done.
There
as I
was,
recall.
and we still have the information for that
Oh,
in
do
the
you?
case file. We do.
So
Yes, we
kind
never could substantiate anything
Yeah.
on it. And it's like you say, so many years has passed.
It's in the 60s.
It was in the 60s, and, there was even speculation. It was along Northwest Creek there, so it was speculation that they may have been down by the water and an alligator or something got them.
Plenty of reasons there, plenty of stuff.
Yeah, there was tons of speculation and several leads over the years, but none of them have panned out.
I remember that now. He wants to know, what case haunts you the most?
Well, it depends on your exact definition of haunt. Mr. Morton's aggravates me the most, probably
Because you know who done it.
we know so much. I'll stop short of that.
Right.
But we know so much about it and still have not been able to actually put it together.
Right.
That aggravates me. The one that haunts me the most, probably of recent years, probably Mariah Woods.
I knew you were going to say that because
And
I think that haunts everybody.
well, by the time, at 6 o'clock or 6:30 that morning, I was in a ditch along with a bunch of other responders looking for her. And I knew then that this was not going to end like a normal child that walked away. And that was a long, long week. And you're looking for her and you try to have hope that it will turn out better,
Yeah.
knowing in your heart it's not.
Right.
And then it coming to a conclusion like that, it's just, it's very frustrating. And yeah, I would say that one pops in my memory quite a bit.
Yeah, I imagine so. I think that haunts everybody here in the county. That was just such a sad, sad case.
Well, there were so many people trying to help, and
Yes.
before the 911 call, it was too late.
I know when I volunteered on one of the search teams along with a friend of mine, Kevin, and we went out there and we walked the woods from the trailer up to we had an area up behind that big trailer park where the campers were.
Yep.
It was so solemn. Nobody spoke.
Mhm.
Everybody, and we all knew, but we had to do something, the public really came out, but we all knew that we weren't going to find her.
Yep.
So sad.
As sad as it sounds, I'm glad we did find her remains.
Yes.
Because if we hadn't, we would still be looking, and it would still not be. It would not.
Now, in that case, being the guy with the experience under your belt that you were out there, yeah, you were hoping,
It had to be so
but you
hard.
knew, and you knew who done it.
Yeah, we felt like we knew exactly who did it.
And
Obviously.
you couldn't tell him,
And,
you couldn't get it.
We
Give it up.
knew how it was going to turn out, and it took a week, but we finally got enough information where we got him to talk with us, and we're able to locate the body from that point.
That's always dangerous. When you start,
It's crazy.
you know he's got the information, and if he tells you something and you screw up in asking him the questions,
Yeah,
you could really blow it too, can't you?
you've got to be very careful in situations like that, because you can get some very vital information, and if you get it in the wrong
Useless.
manner, it's not admissible in court, so you can't do anything with it. So, but that worked out pretty well as far as the way it went, but still the results were, heartbreaking, quite frankly.
I think everyone in the county was so invested in that. It was like getting up every morning to see if there was any more news, and just waiting for something to come out. And
Onslow County and other counties, everybody came to help. The feds
Yes.
were here. Everybody was
Yes.
involved.
We had over 700 volunteers. When I was in the ditch that morning, we put out an Amber Alert, and FBI in Wilmington called me and said, "Hey, you put out an Amber Alert. Do you need anything?"
Uh-huh.
I said, "Yeah." She said, "What you need?" I said, "Send me everything you can find." And they did. They sent the MUST team down. We had agents from as far away as Quantico and South
I
Carolina.
remember the FBI being
We
there.
had SBI, probation helped, the Marine Corps helped. We had mounted deputies from sheriff's offices. We had ATVs from different agencies. It was a very large search to coordinate. We had 3 dive teams,
Yeah.
including our own. It was
Where you going to go? Where you going to look?
we looked under every rock near the area, and by the time we figured out or got the information where she was at, she was 20 miles away.
Another county.
Another county, and a place that probably would have never been looked at if it had not been for the interview talent of the detective that was interviewing him, and that's Benji Foy was the one that interviewed him. Yeah, he did an excellent job interviewing him.
Wow.
So
that would be something else.
Yeah.
At that point in time.
Well, do you have someone at the sheriff's office there that works for the sheriff's office that is kind of like your go-to for suffering emotional distress, like what you went through, and then the deputies,
for the officers.
Yeah, for the officers when they go through, like.
Yeah, we have a peers team. They are a team of volunteer deputies, a group that will talk to individuals who are having issues, that need someone to talk to, that need some kind of emotional support or some peer support.
Right.
And it's been very successful. And it's not only for work-related incidents. They will also talk with folks about things in their life. And I'm a bit of a different generation than that.
Yeah.
My generation is just a little different. We don't tend to do that.
Right.
But the newer generation, they do. And it seems to benefit them greatly.
Excellent.
And we have a very good peers team, and Lieutenant Smith heads it up. And we do.
These are some of the questions that are being asked by people listening.
Have you ever had a close relative that was in World War II?
2 of them.
They don't talk, do they?
One did not, but one did. He would talk to me for some reason, and I think he started talking to me about it right before I joined the military. And he was actually on D-Day. His name was Ivy White.
Okay.
And
I had an uncle, and his son did not know. He knew he was in World War II.
Yeah.
He did not know where he was. He did not talk about some of the things that where he was and what was going on. He was in the Seabees, and he landed on D-Day as well.
Yeah.
They built things.
Yeah.
But the Seabees building stuff, they also carried M1 carbines, and they guarded the prisoners that were taken, that they had captured. So, I mean, they were taking fire during all that time. But he didn't, you know when he started talking about it? When they gave him the notice, he had 3 weeks.
Then he
about 3 weeks, and then he started talking to me. He didn't talk to anybody else. Talk to me.
The odd thing about my uncle is, kids are kids. We sneak up on people and scare them. And
you don't do that.
You couldn't. You could, but you couldn't scare the man.
Really?
You couldn't scare him. He didn't jump. He nothing. It was strange. He just couldn't scare him. And that may have been his personality before we went. But some of the things he told me
that might have kept him alive.
Were pretty tough. He saw some tough stuff as a young man. So,
nope. So, good things. Let's do something good.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know you got
stuff.
some good stuff coming up here, right?
We have several things going on. We got another Citizens Academy going.
Yeah.
Which they seem to be having a good time.
She passed the last one, so she doesn't get to go back, right?
Yeah.
I'm going back.
Go
Did
back
you
for
enjoy
a
it?
Just to see other people again. I mean, I met so many great people.
Some of the instructors that you had there, she was like, they don't act the same in there that you would find they were their job like a judge.
I never said that.
Completely different person.
Well, I knew the judge on a personal level, so but he did a great job too.
Which one was it in your place?
Roop, Bob Roop, Judge Roop. Yes, I've known him for years before he became a judge, and so but you have such a great staff.
I have a good staff.
Great staff.
I'm blessed with that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing quite a bit of hiring lately. We're soon to be filled with our detention center. Got a couple of deputy spots vacant.
Well, you're going to lose one of those in your detention center.
We lose here and there.
He'll stay with the department, but
you're talking about your partner.
My buddy.
I know who you're
partner in
talking
crime.
about.
He's doing a really good job, and he's in Billy T right now.
Yes.
He's doing a good job there. I saw him, I think last Thursday I stopped.
I don't see nearly as much of him in the last 6 months as I saw him before.
Yeah,
He is a card.
He is
after April. You may see him then.
He was worn out every time that
Mhm.
when he wasn't doing his stuff in school. Folks, if you want to be a deputy, even if you want to go to detention school to be a jailer, and there are a lot detention officers. Sorry, there's a special group of individuals there, but you still have to you have to take the classes, and you don't carry a gun.
Nope.
You wear a uniform, you don't carry a gun.
You can come work for us, and we will field train you until we can get you into certification school.
If you want to do that,
We'll
you may
put you
want.
through.
You got people up in the jail that, as you told me before, that have been there and they kind of like working there.
Oh, absolutely.
That is their choice.
Absolutely. I mean, the major that runs the detention center, he's also a deputy, and he prefers working the detention facility. So
Let's go.
Well, I have a big question for you because we talked about this last week and we kind of on the same page here. How do you feel about this bill that the state legislature has introduced it's in committee right now about what was it? Concealed carry for everybody without a permit?
Yeah,
or was
you
it
can hide your gun and carry it
Yes.
around, walk around with it just like you can
Without
if you got a
obtaining
concealed carry
a-
permit.
permit?
constitutional carry. There's two bills. There's House Bill 5 and either House or Senate Bill 50. Both of them are to do away with the concealed carry permit process and do constitutional carry.
Right. Does that
and-
scare you in any way?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, it truly doesn't. The people who come to my office and go through the application process and the background and all of those things, they are not the people I'm concerned with. They truly are not. I mean, they're law-abiding citizens, and they're trying to stay law-abiding, so they go
Right.
through that process. The individual I'm concerned about is the one that is already breaking the law. Probably should not have a gun anyway because they're
No.
most likely convicted of a crime,
Mhm.
and they're doing it anyway.
Right.
Those are the ones that concern me.
Mhm.
South Carolina has constitutional carry there,
Yes, they do.
and it's not affected their crime rate there, not adversely affected their crime rate there. One concern I do have though is a lot of states are reciprocal carry states.
Right.
35 of them.
Yes.
In other words, if you have a permit here and you go to Tennessee honors North Carolina's permit.
Yes.
Well, if you're constitutional carry, you do not have to have a permit here, but you do in Tennessee. So that could cause individuals a little bit of problem there.
Yeah.
That would be
Do your
that would be a big
research.
one.
But I support constitutional carry, and Second Amendment guarantees it, and there are plenty of laws on the book that can take care of individuals that should not have firearms.
So I know you train your officers like every single stop they have
Mhm.
that they have to ask the person to get out. The first thing you do is like him or her.
Mhm.
And if you have probable cause, search. It makes the job harder for these officers. Have no concern now with if it was to go through.
No, because the guns are already there.
Mhm.
I mean, the guns are already on the street. You have
So you're going to
uh,
assume as the street cop or anybody approaching, you're going to assume he's got a gun?
I'm in Onslow County. If I see an individual wearing a bathing suit, I assume they have a gun somewhere.
You can do one.
Wow.
Till we know other, and I don't mean that critically, because I'm a gun enthusiast myself.
Mhm.
I have guns that I have collected over the
Yes.
years. But there's a lot of guns in Onslow County. This is
And I'm glad.
This is a really bad county for somebody who wants to do a home invasion. It's a really
Mhm.
bad idea here. Because most folks here have firearms.
And several of them have used them.
They have, and a lot of folks here have military training and other types of training. So,
Some of my neighbors right up the street here did that a few years back.
well, look, I encourage law-abiding citizens who are not convicted felons and don't suffer from some mental deficiency, to have a gun, know how to use it, train
It's
with it,
important.
train with it often, and make sure they keep it secured away from individuals and that would misuse it, or children, for self-protection. I mean, I have some very good deputies, and Jacksonville has some very good officers, and so does Holly Ridge and Swansboro, but we're not everywhere all the time. So I encourage folks to be alert, pay attention to their surroundings, and exercise
Amen.
their constitutional rights.
I'm going to warn the
Amen.
folks around here, the bad guys, for just a little bit, though. How many sworn gun-toting officers do you have? Uh-oh.
About 166.
Wow.
How many does JPD have?
I can't tell you.
Probably about the same number.
No, they probably got about 110 or so,
Okay.
something like that.
So you're dealing with 275 so far. And then
Yep.
you got Kirby. You got North Topsail, you got Richland, you
Richland,
got Holly Ridge, you
Swansboro.
got Swansboro.
Got the
All
highway
these you
patrol,
got cops. So you got the highway patrol, you
you got
got
marine
probation,
fisheries, you got
probation,
wildlife,
parole.
probation, parole.
You got a bunch of people around here with guns legally.
Yep.
And a lot of them carry their guns all the time, on or off duty.
I carry mine all the time.
Uh-huh. And so then you got a lot of former, prior, or retired, or both, law enforcement officers who carry their guns all the time.
And a lot of retired and active duty military,
Now, folks,
which exercise their rights.
there
to do
are
so.
certain places and certain things that I really wouldn't want to be doing. And was it Florida this week? Yesterday, you were reading a story. Somebody down in Florida,
The
an
Walmart.
off-duty officer, was confronted somebody and ended up.
Oh, yes,
having to
yes.
do
Kelly
what-
did that story. I did
Yeah,
the other one.
do something.
Yes.
Anyway, so the off-duty officer took matters in hand.
Yes.
Situation resolved. But there are cops out here. Y'all are taking a big chance, and that's just
Every
not going up
day.
against civilians. You're taking a big chance in this county.
Yeah. This is a very much a Second Amendment county.
Mm-hmm.
So you can tell by the number of gun shops and what have you here. So
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now, this if this Senate and/or House bill, they get all the way through both, the governor signs it, which is going to be one of those flip a coin at this point in time, whether he agrees to it. If it happens, you're still going to offer. State will still have concealed carry permits if people want to get them. Correct.
it depends on which bill goes through.
Oh, my.
One yes, one not.
Ouch.
It just depends on which one goes through, and I understand that the governor will probably likely veto it.
Oh, sure.
But I understand they also may be enough support in the Senate that they can override it. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I would suggest getting one because if that one does pass, because
But
that
it
way.
expires in 5 years.
But if you travel to another state like
If it expires in
Tennessee,
5 years,
what?
it expires in 5 years. Are you going to renew them?
If the one passes, yes. And, there's a lot of folks that generally don't travel.
Yeah.
So if I were one of those individuals, I wouldn't worry about it. But if I was a
Me.
truck driver or someone who goes to different states fairly regularly, then I would want to be able
Yes,
to have a
that's
permit so
what I
I
was
could
getting at.
reciprocal carry in the other
Yes.
states.
Because
So,
they're going to carry. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to get into trouble.
well, you can get. I'm a law enforcement officer, and I'm concerned if I ever drive through New Jersey.
Yeah.
Or New York.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, because just I don't trust the gun laws that they have there.
Mhm.
So I would lock them in the trunk, separate the ammunition, and get through that state.
And then deny permission to search.
I wouldn't stop. Well, I'd stop if I was stopped by law enforcement, but I would try to get gas where I got there and try to get all the way through
Right.
before I had to stop again. So,
Bad boys.
Yeah, I was. I had spent some time with the chief of police up in New Jersey, and he says, my boys don't act like they do in New York, is the way he put it.
yeah. No, it's a little different culture there, a little different atmosphere.
Yeah, this was out
Amen on
in the
that.
country of New Jersey. I know you got to go to work.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate it.
And
And-
please, folks, look it up. If you've got questions, we'll help you out. Mr. Morton was a very nice guy from all understandings.
Very, very good guy.
And he just
Very
went
well
out
respected.
he had gone out for breakfast, come
Mhm.
back home, had his dog when he went out for breakfast, or
He went to Helen's.
yeah, he normally cares.
That was
Yeah.
every day he went to Helen's.
And then he
and,
came home and something happened.
Yep.
And it was a broad daylight thing, likely.
It was daytime.
Yes.
That's lock your doors, folks.
I'll keep mine locked 24/7.
That's back to paying attention to your surroundings.
And,
That's
and
right.
also, I strongly recommend, if nothing else, hopefully they won't have to look at your video later on after you're dead. Maybe it will act as a deterrent, if nothing else. And maybe it will alert you to go get your gun if you come to the door and there's some strange person standing there.
Yeah.
It does not hurt to open your door with your gun in your hand behind the door.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what. Right now, Ring doorbells are so cheap
Oh
now.
God, yes.
They're so cheap,
And
and
they
they
are-
are the best to
And they are
have.
a deterrent, in my
Yes.
They're great.
I did post the story about Gary Morton when it came out the other day,
Mhm.
and I will repost it again for people that didn't see the first time, and so they'll understand what we're talking about. But I hope, I really pray that you'll be able to solve that one soon.
It's very solvable if we can just get that one little
One
piece
little
of
thing
information.
is all you need.
We didn't
Yes.
mention that Mr. Morton was also a real estate man.
Yes.
He was and had a
Went to-
rental property.
Yeah.
And sold
So-
property.
Yeah, so you've got a plethora of individuals to chat
I
with.
remember his office was right there on Henderson Drive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sheriff, thank you, sir. Be safe
Thank y'all
always.
for having me.
Thank you
it's
so
been-
much. Please come
And
back.
if there
Oh,
are
yeah.
issues-
Y'all let me know when. And
No,
if any of my other guys y'all need to talk to, just let Trevor or me know.
Okay, I'll do it.
Sure will.
I got all of his numbers.
Excuse
Dan
me.
Bruce has been, Trevor's been.
Yes.
So
Yeah, Trevor did a good job.
Let me know.
And so
Y'all
Yes.
take care.
we had a double whammy for him being in the prior news.
Yeah.
I think he was prepared.
He was. He was.
Okay.
I'm sure he was prepped.
All
Sheriff
right.
Chris Thomas,
Always-
a great man,
I'll tell you
and,
what.
and again, one that I've known for a lot longer than I've known most of the people that I know and his friends and associates around here.
It's always a pleasure having him on. He's so open, and we get into we start.
It's common
had-
sense.
We had him here for about the missing persons, the Crime Stoppers, and
Mhm.
of course we went into. Went into all different things, but he's always willing to answer any question and explain it. So
And folks, if you know, he's a local guy,
yes, he is.
but if you
Homeboy.
think he's a country bumpkin, that he's uneducated elected sheriff and being a country bumpkin, you are sadly mistaken.
He's country, I will say that, but very intelligent, very well schooled.
Country ham is country, but what
You
about
want
it is
him on
good,
your
isn't
side.
it? But he's also well educated
Oh,
and
extremely.
experienced. State Bureau of Investigation,
Yes.
Pender County Chief Deputy. That's where I
Right.
first met him, and that was in 1990, I think it was, or 91, something like that. I've known him for a long time.
It would take a page to put down all
He's
his
worked drugs. He had
credentials.
a drug.
Yes.
He was in charge of a drug get. He's worked Jacksonville PD. The guy's been around. He's got training with the FBI. He's got.
Yes.
He's the man has got his mess together.
And he
And-
actually
and-
worked
and-
alongside the FBI, didn't he?
And then there's this other little thing out there that they don't teach you about. They can't teach you. You can take every course that you want in law
Mhm.
enforcement. You can take every course in every four-year university, every postgraduate course that you want. There's one thing that he has that's not taught: common sense.
We've been very fortunate in our sheriffs over the
We have,
years.
yeah.
Awesome. We've had awesome leadership.
We're good to go now. If you do have, seriously, we really, it's gentleman lived alone. Okay. Gary Morton, what was in his 60, I think, yeah, 66 years old.
Was he 66? when he-
66. A
left
young
the
looking
earth?
66
Yes.
when he passed away. When he was murdered,
Right.
he lived off of Old 30.
Right.
And he had a nice home out there.
Yes, he did. I
And,
remember his
And,
house.
and he had a little pond there.
Yes.
Whoever killed him, you heard the sheriff talked about him.
Yes.
Lots of trauma, but and then shot.
Right.
And then they dropped him into pond.
Yes, they did. I remember that. It's just how shocking it
In
was.
December, it was the
you
water
know?
was cold. It took a period
Right.
of time, and they found his truck out in the southwest area, burned.
Right. I
They
remember
said
that.
one dog that was shot and killed. One dog still missing. Obviously, feared what occurred there too. But it's there. But for the grace of God, go thee and me every day of the week, y'all.
Yeah.
And do you want to, almost 8.5 years later now, his killer or killers are still at large. How do they sleep? You could be mean. He was not the sheriff at the time, but I was the lead investigator, if not the chief investigator for the sheriff's office back in 1974. This name Schrader came up this morning, Marcus Schrader. in a guy committed 2 bank robberies using hostages, 2 women as
Right,
hostages.
yes, he did.
8 months apart, almost 8 months apart. One in January, one in August. I was intimately involved with that thing, unfortunately, but fortunately, I guess. And then he disappeared from January until August, and then he showed up. No money from the first bank robbery showed up. Had one young woman, about 25, I think, as I recall, had been used in that robbery as a hostage. He was masked. No cameras, and it was a new bank on Western Boulevard at the time. They didn't have cameras. And then they weren't operating, one or the other. Got away, found her body the next day, basically across the street from the bank on one of the side streets of that newly to be developed area, Middle Street type area.
Right.
White Street, not White Street, but one of those side streets. And then nothing on August.
I remember.
Almost 8 months later to the day, on a Friday, the same day of the week that the first one was done, and another bank robbery, this one on Onslow Drive, extension they called it then, and another young woman. And got away, got a clean getaway, made a clean getaway. Had bank film, and found her body an hour or two after the robbery. She was in her car. She'd been driving. She was used. He forced her to drive, and he was masked, or she was not. Same MO, shot in the forehead, and she was pregnant.
Right.
Just
I
married for a
remember
couple of months.
That was Cheryl
Potter Boyd.
Yes.
And she it was, and they found her body sitting in the car behind the old A&P there on the backside of the New River Shopping Center, and got through with that one. And that was a Friday. And Friday night, the bank film had been processed as a 100-foot roll of 35 millimeter film.
Sure.
That's a lot of processing.
That's a lot of processing.
But it's done in a machine.
Oh,
Okay?
good. Yes.
So it was flown to Charlotte. FBI had it done. It was flown back here. The raw film was flown back here for us to print pictures. I printed pictures all night Friday night. Well, I mean, we're talking about Saturday morning in the wee morning hours. Max Milner and he was the police commissioner. He was owner of a, you didn't know that, did you?
I didn't know that. That was one of my
commissioner in those days.
Former husband's best friend.
And he ran a pizza place there on Marine Boulevard.
Yes, Pizza Inn.
And he and I processed print pictures all night long until we found one picture on that 100-foot roll of film, 35 millimeter film. You can imagine the number of images on that. The image is about an inch and a quarter long on a 35, less than an inch long. That's very short. A lot of pictures to sort through, and you don't print them all. You do these by hand.
Yeah.
You go through one, you look at the individual images with a loop, a little magnifying thing like jewelers use, and you pick out the images that might be something you want to print. So we printed a bunch of different images till we found one, and it showed a little anomaly in the image with his eye, and that's how they identified him. And that was done on Saturday afternoon.
That's right. That's right.
Saturday afternoon. And by the time they had the name, staked out his house up at Cedar Point, and he didn't move, didn't have enough to go up there to even do a knock and look-see, nothing. Found his vehicle coming back from Emerald Isle on that Sunday afternoon, and it was driven by his stepdaughter who didn't have a driver's license because she was 15 and very pregnant. Not very pregnant, but pregnant by him.
Yeah.
She was 15.
He was a real winner.
So pulled up back to his house, the van did, and he wasn't in it. So it was decided at that time to go ahead and go for a knock and chat. And he came to the door. Bunches of state troopers are out there behind every tree. Never forget that. Hiding, waiting. They all came because it was a miscommunications over the radio. But three people, one Jacksonville PD's Jerry Reed, Sheriff's Office Bill Woodward, who was elected later on to be sheriff, and Dave Manco, who was the FBI senior agent here.
Yes.
And he The three of them did the knock. He came to the door, got sick, started puking. Claimed later that he had been sick, had flu or something. Bull. He got scared. And got permission to do a quick exam, and they found a T-shirt. He was wearing a T-shirt at the time with human matter on it. It was identified, ran it to Dr. Gable, who was the medical examiner. He confirmed it was human and obtained a warrant in Carteret County, expedited, a magistrate there, and he was arrested, taken into custody, and the rest is history. Money was found in his freezer from that bank robbery. Money was found days later in his van. It was impounded, and a local record yard had it. It was in the walls.
I remember the van.
Of the van. It was a little. They put up paneling in the walls on the walls, and the money was crammed in there. It'd been there since since January. And Mr. Schrader was described, and during that Sunday evening when they had him in the sheriff's office, and I think he was Lieutenant Woodward at the time. He had him in there. Could have been chief of detectives, but anyway, had him in the office, and we could hear him screaming at Schrader. And Bill Woodward, if you ever had known him, was the mildest mannered, easiest talking individual
I told you my story.
you've ever seen. But he got there and he shouted,
Good.
at the top of his lungs, Schrader, I know you did it.
Seriously.
I know you did it. I know you killed these two girls. And also, Schrader, you killed those two teenagers 2 weeks ago that he and his stepdaughter kidnapped from Onslow Drive. Nobody put those two together. And I asked him, how did you do that? He said, because there's not, in my mind, more than one person that mean in all of
I think there's three.
those were his words.
Yes. Oh, I remember. Yeah, I told you about my story with Sheriff Woodward.
He could be funny too.
Yeah. I think the Schrader case, I think the Cesar Loren case, and the Mariah Woods case, those deeply affected us here in Onslow County. I mean, those
You
were
missed the
really,
one in 1967.
Which one was that?
17-year-old girl, high school senior, getting ready to graduate, and son of a deputy sheriff, guy named Billy Early.
Okay.
And Billy Early asked for a ride home one evening.
He ended up
Thursday
raping
evening,
and killing her?
raped her and killed her.
Yes.
He pleaded guilty, was sentenced to 2 life terms to be served concurrently. Thank you, Judge. Concurrently means to be served at the same time.
So you finish one life, you go to the
So
other.
you get to serve a life sentence.
Right.
And life sentence in those days was considered to be 20 years. Once you could have served your 20-year sentence, at age 37, he was released on parole.
Mm-hmm.
Released on parole.
I remember that.
Rape,
Yes.
stealing her car, murder.
Yeah, I remember that case now that you mention it, but those 3 that I mentioned, I think were just.
Well, I got all of them.
Phew.
Okay. Good God, I got to get off of that stuff.
I
don't
fixed my weather. Ellie Patino should be in here in just a few minutes. He was running a few minutes late.
Okay.
He's the owner of the Jacksonville Ospreys. And we're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
talk
I gotta
baseball.
Got to get my cover over there.
Oh, yeah, I will.
Okay.
Okay.
Forecasters warn y'all, elevated fire danger continues here in the Carolinas. There's little relief today in the form of rain. That could change by tomorrow. It will change by tomorrow afternoon. Offshore today, out to 20 nautical miles. Watch out. Don't go. Gale watch goes into effect late tonight, will remain in effect through late tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
Southeasterly winds 10 to 15 knot, seas 2 to 4 feet today rather. Sounds and rivers of moderate chop tomorrow. That's when it's going to be waking up to the winds out of the south, 25 to 35, gusts to 45 knots, seas 8 to 11 feet. They're going to get bigger, 11 to 15 in the afternoon offshore. Near shore, seas, near shore, 7 to 10. Building to 9 to 13 in the afternoon. Sounds and rivers very rough. Still blustery on Thursday. Westerly winds 20 to 25, gusts to 35, seas 6 to 9, 5 to 7 near shore. Don't even think about going to those 5 to 7s. You can't get there. Sounds and rivers rough.
And today is mostly sunny with a high near 67, light winds with gusts as high as 20 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low around 54. Wednesday, afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Some of the storms could be severe and produce heavy rainfall. High near 69, breezy with winds 15 to 22 miles per hour with gust high as 34. Wednesday night, a chance of showers and thunderstorms. Thursday, partly sunny with a high near 54.
Yeah. Chilly.
Beautiful.
Got another case of a story that should never have happened.
Oh, do tell.
And if the mealy-mouthed liberals had taken the problem seriously, instead of encouraging it to continue, another U.S. citizen would be alive today. An elderly South Texas rancher murdered, apparently by a cartel explosive device. The Trump administration is promising to continue being ruthlessly aggressive in responding to cartel threats to Americans. Just like so many others who talk about it, but the cartels still rule, and we have offered nothing but token response to the murdering thugs. There is no negotiating with Mexico. Why did I say Mexico? Because I mean it. Why doesn't anyone else see this? You cannot negotiate with Mexico about this. The Mexican government makes a lot of money from the drug cartels. If the Mexican authorities were to even try and interfere with the drug trade, the current war between cartels would become a cartel war with the Mexican government. Right now, they're fighting each other because they're in competition. But they will combine their efforts and they will go to war with the Mexican government if the Mexican government tries to stop them. You would see assassinations of government leaders at the federal and local levels. The butchers would openly target policemen and their families at home. Trump started his administration in the right way. He declared the drug cartels as terrorists. Yes. 20 years ago, another president declared ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and similar groups as terrorists. I want y'all to put this together, would you? We declared them as terrorists. We declared Osama bin Laden as a terrorist. We declared all ISIS and all Al-Qaeda as terrorists, and they were in foreign countries. They were in foreign countries. Did it matter to us? No, we didn't care. The chief puke terrorist was Osama bin Laden. He was living in a compound he built in Pakistan. That didn't matter to us once we found out where he was. We were not at war with any of these countries harboring fugitives. We were not at war with any countries that harbored fugitives. We were after terrorists. Did it stop us from sending troops into those countries to hunt them down and kill them? Did we ask permission to send SEAL Team 6 members and using 3 helicopters in the middle of the night to bin Laden's lair in Pakistan? Nope. We went. We landed. We killed everyone standing between the team and bin Laden. Then we killed bin Laden. We packaged his body up nicely, verified through DNA and photographs that he was the right guy, then sent his sorry remains to the bottom of the ocean to become food for sharks. You know how they took a measurement of him? They didn't have a tape measure with them. They laid the guy down beside him of known height because bin Laden was a tall dude.
Right.
Laid him down beside the body and took a picture.
Oh, wow.
For comparison. That's how we measured him. Don't even ask how I know that. Mexico has no more rights housing a terrorist organization that continues to send killer drugs into this country to sneak across our border and kill American citizens than Pakistan, Iran, and any other countries hiding terrorists had way back then. I think I can easily make a case that we should send teams into Mexico without asking their permission and therefore keeping them from alerting the bad guys and seek out and eliminate the drug cartels. Every member. We don't have to capture them. We've got them at the point of a gun. You resist, you die. So I ask you, who poses a bigger threat to U.S. citizens? Right. Terrorists in Gaza, Iran, Iraq, Pakistan, North Korea, or our neighbors in Mexico? Let me remind you, before you go liberal on me, more than 100,000 Americans died from fentanyl overdoses that were shipped into this country by the Mexican drug cartels last year. 1 year. Twice as many Americans were murdered by the cartel in 1 year than were killed during 10 years of fighting in Vietnam. You got something to say? Say it now.
Shoo-wee.
910-333-0139.
Well, I want to talk about some terrorists in the state of North Carolina.
If they're the kind of terrorists that we would declare as terrorists, then we would.
These are terrorists.
Then we
No,
should
I'm
take
just
this-
kidding, guys. Senate Bill 192 was introduced by State Senator Jim Burgeon, an act that looks to raise the fee for performing a vehicle safety inspection
Oh,
in the
Lord
state.
have
Now, I could see $1, $2. Listen to this. If passed, lawmakers would raise the emissions and safety test from $23.75 to $40.15.
Who's going to get that money?
And the safety only test, if the vehicle does not require an emissions test, from the $12.75 to $29.15.
Who's going to get the money?
I mean,
I'm sure that the people performing the test will get every bit of that, won't they?
Steve calling, but yeah, I mean, we just got back to normal fees not long ago after they dropped the required emissions and safety
Yeah.
test, and now
Here in Onslow County.
yeah, $12.75. I mean, it's more than doubled to $29.50. More than doubled. I want to see some
Would
roads
you,
fixed.
will you stand and put up with that?
What choice do we have?
It hasn't passed, has it?
No, it's not passed
Okay,
yet.
then
It's
reach
just
out to
been
your
introduced.
legislators and
Yes.
tell them, we ain't
Terrorist.
gonna do it. We ain't even gonna get a driver's
Terrorist.
license. We're gonna become a sovereign citizen,
They've
y'all.
already said gas is going to go up.
No, gas is coming down.
It's
Gas
getting,
taxes will go up.
it's going to cost you more at the pump. Oh, and we're still going to be dealing with deflation. I mean, it's going to take time for
The
hopefully.
more we conserve
Everything
gas,
to
the
come
more
down.
the less we use gasoline these days, the more they have to raise the taxes. Why? Because the gas is paid per gallon. The tax is paid per gallon of gasoline.
So you're
And if
saying
we
I
don't
need to
use-
get out and drive more?
Yeah,
But then I have to buy more gas.
yeah,
Then it's costing me more.
yeah.
Oh,
Hey, Steve, what's
help,
up?
Steve.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Help.
How are you?
Pretty good. I'm hearing an echo from my voice, and I can't hear y'all very well.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me now?
Well, you sound good on our
Yeah,
end.
that's much better.
Okay, I'll just talk louder.
I got you. Hey, I wanted to ask y'all about a report I heard that Pete Hegseth has ordered the U.S. Cyber Command to stop all operations against Russia. Have you heard that one yet?
I have not
Yeah.
heard that one. I'll double
Yeah.
check that one.
It's if you Google it, you'll find it everywhere.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. They said the reason was that they were trying to get Putin to the negotiating table.
Well, that's always a lot of fun when you play those kinds of games, isn't it? Sometimes it works and sometimes it don't work so good.
Yeah, it just
And when you're dealing with a Putin, is this Russian roulette, pardon the pun.
right. But it seems like they're bending over backwards to try and appease whatever Putin needs to get to the table, and at the same time not addressing any of Zelensky's concerns. You think in a negotiation like this, you would be trying to find out what both parties need in order to negotiate a peace.
Well, you got one guy. You got one guy who's very dangerous and hard-headed. We all know that. That would be the bear, right? We've all put up with him for way too long, and he needs to go away. And then we've got Zelensky, who's got his back against the wall, literally, and he's having to deal with Russia and having to try to get assistance from other places. He can't join NATO because they're not going to take him in. We're not going to allow him to go in because Russia said they will raise or create war, have war with the United States, accept Ukraine into the NATO. Duh. What do you do?
Yeah, I don't have a good answer for that, but history has shown appeasing a tyrant does not work.
Well, I know how to work it. I know how to appease him, but not that way.
Right. But I mean, you got to imagine that they're keeping Zelensky in the dark on these negotiations. They're keeping our European allies in the dark on these negotiations. They're even keeping the American people in the dark about it. I can't imagine that any world leader would want to sign any agreement that they don't know anything about.
I'm sure they're not going to.
That's the part that, isn't it reasonable that Zelensky would want to hear something about some security guarantees, being that Vladimir Putin's broken 25 agreements that he signed?
Sure. That
don't sound unreasonable.
No, it doesn't. But I don't know what's unreasonable. I don't know what kind of, because we're in the dark in a lot of areas. We don't know what Zelensky is requesting or requiring. We don't know about that area either, do we?
From everything I've seen, he's just wanting to know what's going on. He has expressed his concerns that Vladimir Putin has not been a trustworthy person in the past, and he wants to understand what's going to be different this time.
Yeah, well, that's no big surprise.
I haven't seen where he's demanded anything.
Well, I doubt very seriously. You said that a lot of this is being done in the dark, as it should be, but I don't think we're going to hear everything. I hope we don't. It's because I
agree, but
look what happened last Friday when everything was publicized last Friday and carried live. Look what happened. It was a zoo. It was one of those shows that we can't call what it is.
This is a point I think is worth mentioning as well, is that Trump met with several world leaders, and every one of them had to push back against things he was saying that weren't true. And he did the same thing with Zelensky, but they blew up at Zelensky over. You can go look at every other one he met with. They did the same thing to Trudeau from France. He interrupted Trump, corrected him on what he was saying, and they didn't have a problem with that.
Okay. We'll have to just wait and see what they decide to tell us what their version of the truth is going to be. I don't know what it's going to be. Do you?
I don't. But I don't think, from what I've seen from Zelensky, what he's asking is an unreasonable question.
There are key words there from what I've seen from Zelensky. The key words.
Right.
We haven't seen everything from Zelensky.
I get it.
Okay.
But a lot of people are going on the hopes that there's some method to this madness.
I am. I'm hoping, but I'm not counting on it.
And I would agree. But there's also, you have to realize there's the possibility that it's just madness.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope that there is method to it, but
we'll
see.
All the appearances of they're telling Zelensky to sit down and shut up and take the deal we give you.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to be speaking tonight before Congress.
We'll have to wait and see.
Anxious to see what he's got to say, but in the meantime, it's time to talk baseball.
Steve, we're going to go take it out to the.
I'll let you go.
Take it out to the ball game.
All right, thanks, Steve.
All right, thank you. American sport it is coming up very shortly.
Baseball, apple pie.
Do we have a team yet?
Hey, how you guys doing? Sorry for running late.
It's so good to see you.
Yeah, we have a team.
Okay, now we can introduce you. We just wanted, if we didn't have a team, we were going to let you go.
This is Ellie Patino. Him and his wife.
Yeah.
Great people. They started the Jacksonville Ospreys. They're the team owners. And last year was the first season. And I understand we have exciting news for the upcoming season.
Well, first of all, I know of 3 types of ospreys.
Mm-hmm.
One's a big old bird.
Yes.
I got pictures of them.
Yes.
One's a big old something else that flies, but it's not a bird.
Yep.
And then we got a bunch of guys with bats running around.
That's right.
Yay.
There might be 4 types. We got a mascot bird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope it looks.
And you've
I'm not gonna get there
added
right now.
to the mascot this year, right?
Yeah. So we so first we had a great first year. Really a foundational year to kind of build a team. And as far as the roster goes, I mean, December 2023 was the December 7th, we signed our first ball player. Well, by the time we got to December 7th, 2024, we're pretty much all set.
Really?
The word is spread. We had teams visit us and play us at Jack Amiette, and they're like, man, this place is nice. They got a crowd.
Beautiful.
The Clayton Clovers had a player sign a professional contract in the offseason. When they showed up, several of their ball players were envious of our community.
Yeah.
So, I think the word has spread. It definitely has spread because we are pulling new players. This year, we got several Japanese ball players. We got a kid coming from Australia, and I don't know if you know this. I think the number 1 draft pick in Major League Baseball was an Australian.
That's what I heard.
So we got an Australian coming up.
Really?
Goes to a D1 JUCO school in Texas. And then we have Canadian, Noah Gaggle, he's coming back. And we're trying to get a couple of Dominicans to come back, try to work out some logistics.
We have an
for 'em.
international ball team right here in
Yes, we do.
Jacksonville.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
we do.
What's up with that with this international community? I mean, look at the people that we got living here.
Yeah.
I mean, it reflects us.
Oh yeah, most definitely, and the support. You know, we surveyed all the players at the end of the last year, and we left it so they could leave it anonymous should they want to, you know, be a little more critical if we wanted that. And they all left their names, and they all said it was wonderful, great community. Jacksonville's a beach town. We love it here.
Oh, yes.
They're going back telling their friends. I think the word is easily going to spread. And with the All-Star game coming this year, that's going to be, I think, a big catalyst for baseball growth and everything else in our community.
Okay, what is this going to mean for the people in the area who want to go see baseball, who had to travel to Kinston or Morehead City or forbid somewhere
Not
else further
anymore.
away? What do we got here to offer?
Well, I'll tell you what. We run the team. We have theme nights, promo nights every single night. Great sponsor support. And we run the team pretty much like a minor league baseball team. So there's theme nights, there's mascots, there's lots of engaging activities for families.
Right.
The best compliment we had all last year was like second to the last game. We always open up the gates so kids can get autographs. And we had a young couple come up to us, someone directed to myself and my wife, probably in their 20s, had a 3 or 4 year old daughter. And they said, hey, we like coming to Ospreys games. We don't even watch baseball. We don't even know the rules of baseball.
Whatever.
But our daughter loves coming to the games.
Nice.
And so that is the best compliment because you got your baseball purists and you got the people that just want to get out and catch a ball game and a hot dog and a beer. But when you got people that don't even understand the game of baseball, but yet they're having their families
It's
are
entertainment.
Exactly.
And that's good. It's good, clean entertainment.
It is.
So this year we introduced Sammy the Silly Goose. We got an alternate eagle, if you will. And kudos to Mayor Sammy Phillips. He was a good sport. He said we can name Sammy the Silly Goose after him. So
I was just going to ask, is that who you
That
named
is good.
after?
So now we can call him Silly Sammy.
Next
Instead of
time I
Mayor.
see him walking down the street, I'm going to open the door. Hey, you silly goose.
Yeah. Well, I used to work with him
Yeah.
when he
He's a
was
good
in
man.
when he was in law
Great
enforcement.
mayor.
So
he's a good man.
he's a good guy.
But
most of the time.
Yeah. So we
Sorry, Sammy.
roster's set. I think we're just looking for armor too. And we're hot and heavy. We're going to release our promotional schedule probably later this week. So that's exciting. And yeah. So other than that, I mean, there's a lot more updates, but yeah, things
What
are
are-
definitely moving forward.
What are some of the new things that you're looking at trying out this year? I know you had said something about some blow up figurines. Yeah. What was that about again? I looked it up and watched the videos. It was funny.
So a lot of people it's about 50-50 when I talk to people about this, but if they didn't understand what the mascot that eats people, you know, it's like an inflatable mascot. It eats like an umpire or eats like a
It does.
cheerleader or something like that. It's hilarious.
Yes.
Well, turns out these mascots, you can't buy them. It's a traveling circus of inflatable mascots that go to all these professional baseball or whatever events. Well, we actually reached out to a company and they customized one for us.
Oh,
We
really?
haven't revealed it yet, but it's basically, it's going to look just like Chesty the Bulldog, but with a
Cool.
dress blues kind of cartoonish look. And I think it's going to be a big hit with the
Oh,
with the
so
kids.
cool. It actually eats
Sicking on
you.
the terrorist.
That is awesome. Yeah. I know. I love the way you did last year that each game was kind of centered around a theme.
Mhm.
So you would have this theme going on one week. The next week it would be a different theme. And I commend you. I think it was really good. Really cool.
Feedback from fans. What are you getting?
Yeah, great
Other
question.
than what you just told there.
So we released a survey. So we had a pretty good response. Overall, fans were pretty happy with ticket pricing, pretty happy with
Yeah.
the amenities.
Mhm.
Where we expected, feedback was either additional seating, bleacher seating,
Sure.
better concession situation. So which we were going to have this year. The health department has cleared us, so we can
Good.
have our own hot dogs,
Oh.
nachos, things like that. If
You
you
don't
don't
have hot dogs. Why
so
not?
now
That's right.
we can sell these things in lieu of ticket packages and things that rather than solely, not that we don't appreciate it, we do, but solely rely on our food vendors because
Mhm.
there's a lot of money driving off at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Season's
Sure.
only so long. And then on top of that, for all our people that love to drink a beer with their hot dog at a ball game. The beer garden's going away, and now you can drink beer throughout the concourse.
Oh, that's
Oh,
great.
excellent.
So that's a
So
big
they can
plus.
take it back to
That's
their
great.
seats
I
and
like
have a beer.
that. I like that.
Yeah.
Have you been able to provide additional seating? I know first year you opened, there was just seating on one side, or you bring a chair. Have you made any changes on that?
Great question. So we're working with the city to see if we can bring in additional bleachers from around the city for
Come
that
on,
summer.
city.
I think that's on the docket. There's some legitimate logistical things that we're working through. But on top of that, the TDA, Jacksonville TDA,
Mhm.
and their leadership has committed to putting up a brand new scoreboard.
Nice.
from what I heard.
Nice.
I haven't seen the details of it, but that's what I keep being told. It's awesome. TDA and the city of Jacksonville and also county, they've all been very good supporters of this. I mean, without their support, this program would have been much more muted. I mean, the fact that everyone got behind Osprey's baseball and said, look, this is something that's good for our community, really helped set it off, really helped,
Mhm.
because the fans do, we had sponsors even show up before the bleachers were installed last year.
Mhm.
They're like, okay. But then once they came to a game, they're like, oh, I didn't know the bleachers were getting installed.
Yes.
So they hopped on board for this year. So things of that nature really help the program stay healthy. So
Well, last year was your very first year, and I have to say, you did exceptional.
thank you.
I mean, just to start this type of baseball league and open it up to everyone, and with what the city did with Jack Emmy at the field there, oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
Mhm.
And congratulations on a great first year.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we're extremely excited. We partnered with the city and the TDA to put in a bid to host the All-Star game.
Mhm.
So June 28th, we're going to have a
28th.
whole slew of
Wow.
events. Home run derby, followed by the All-Star game. Before the home run derby, there's going to be a splash pad, live music. It's going to be pretty much a big party
day.
that whole day. Yep.
Wow.
And we got the league's best players that are going to show up, all the team representatives,
Mhm.
their families, hotel stays, you name it, it's going to happen that day.
And
So
the date is 28th?
June 28th.
Okay.
I've got
That's a Saturday.
So as far as the All-Star game, it'll be players from teams from where coming in?
Yeah, so all over North Carolina. There's 24 teams in North Carolina. Like I just
Right.
mentioned, Clayton just had a player sign a professional contract. So these players are the top players in the league. They're all collegiate athletes. They're going to show up in Jacksonville, and they're going to, get a taste of our awesome
Two
hospitality.
teams, yeah.
Two teams, yep.
What do
West and
we?
East.
Okay, west
Yep.
and the east. Okay, gotcha.
Cool.
Yep, and then a home run
I like
derby
this.
before that, which would be fun. And I think a lot of players are going to have fun hitting some home runs at Jack Emmy Park. So
Oh, wow. That sounds like, all right, first game of the season. What's your opener?
yeah, May 31st,
May 31st.
7 p.m.
Yeah. And
Tickets
that's
are
good.
selling quick, and if you want to get tickets, I advise buy them early
Okay.
because we are going to be limited on those tickets. Last year was let's just sell tickets and see what happens. Well, this year we actually going to have less tickets available, just so
Really?
everyone can have a much more optimal viewing
Are
situation.
they on sale now?
They are.
I'll be sure to go in
Yeah.
there. All right.
Get your tickets.
I'll be sure to go in there and get mine this
Now,
week.
how do you get your tickets?
So yeah, go to JacksonvilleOspreys.com.
Okay.
Click on
Makes
the
it easy.
tickets tab, and you can click on the home opener. We got season passes. All season pass holders get a ticket to the All-Star game included. So if you're a season pass holder for $140, you get all the tickets and the All-Star game inclusion.
I think that's what I got
140
last
bucks.
year.
How many
Was,
games do you get to see for $140?
$140, there's 20 games.
Wow.
yeah, I think last year I bought when you had the package like 8 games or something like that. It covered all the home games.
Mhm.
I think that's the one I got. But I may have
And
to
what's
get
more better for this season too is that 75% of our games are Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, as
Yes,
opposed to last year it was
Right.
flipped. We had a lot of weekday games.
right. You did.
So now we're playing.
That's
We're
right.
playing at home every Saturday.
All right. There you go. I have no commitments on Saturdays, but baseball now.
We're going to land on Osprey out there, one of the that flies out at the New River.
You know, so we met with Colonel Derek of Mag 26 right after the season. He said, "I didn't even know about you guys. They called us to come meet with them." Him and Sergeant Major Sorgi and his team. They said, "Look, we're going to support you guys 100%.
Do a
We're
flyover.
actually going to submit for that." And from what they said, unless DOD says otherwise, they're committed for it. So hopefully
Isn't
we should
that
get that.
cool?
Obviously, we
I mean,
won't know
how
until we
fitting.
get closer definitively, but we can safe to say, look, we're definitely putting it they request into a welcoming review board, and yeah. So
Well, in the evenings, during an evening game or something, those ospreys that I know fly over here on their way back to New River from Bow, just we could convince them to do a little flyover too every day.
it's like they fly over the field already as it is all
It's
the time.
right
Yes.
here.
You're
I
right.
mean, just
Probably fly over
hang
here.
them a little bit.
Pretty cool.
Go just
Pretty
a
cool.
little bit inland, because they fly over this place every day.
Yeah.
On the
Or
way
to
home.
make sure the pilots get a copy of the schedule. So
Oh
if they're
yeah,
ever flying around, they just-
absolutely.
Have you got
Put-
enough
Put
host
the-
families?
Go ahead and put the Latin lawn coordinates on that little list that
There you go.
give them.
There
I
you
didn't
go.
know that. That's good.
Think about it, because they may not know it. Just take that route.
I like it.
Do you need more host families, or do you have that covered?
So actually, we I just talked to our host family coordinator over the weekend, and we could probably use a couple more host families.
Okay.
We just had sad. We had a player. I won't say his name because I don't think he wants to be known, but he texted me yesterday. Ellie, I won't be able to come down. He's been battling a liver and kidney disease since he was
Ooh.
born. Great
Ouch.
kid, one of our team captains.
Wow.
Our best.
We're
Go for
super
it.
excited for him to come back, but he's hanging up the cleats definitively.
Hmm.
So
Bless them.
so his last summer of baseball was with us.
Okay.
Wow.
He said he hopes to come down
Glad
this
he had a
summer.
good summer.
But I
Glad
said,
he had a
look-
good season.
I said, you have a family here forever, so you can always come to Jacksonville
Nice, nice,
no matter what.
nice.
He's a great kid. Awesome
Now,
kid.
have we had any changes as far as general manager and team coach, or
Yeah, so Dylan's actually now our full-time GM.
Great.
Dylan Hughes, same. He's
Yes.
doing a great job doing it with sponsorships, and now we're moving into the operational planning for each and every home game. We're onboarding a assistant GM. We got an operations manager out of Liberty University. She was an intern last year, Kate Wilson. She wants to work in professional baseball one day. And then as far as you asked about coaches, Coach Josiah Samora, the Jacksonville High School head coach. He's our head coach.
Wonderful.
Ah,
And then we got a
Hey.
hitting coach coming out of University of Indianapolis.
Yes.
He's bringing two players. I don't know if you know this, but Lindy, University of Indianapolis, had back-to-back World Series appearances last couple years. And
big
then we
time.
have a Kate Anderson, who's a teacher at Jacksonville High School, but pitched for
Yeah.
Campbell University. He's our pitching coach.
Wow. I
So
mean,
a lot of
Wow,
local
wow,
talent.
wow.
this
lot
is
of- lot of
going
good stuff.
big time.
Mhm. This is the place to
Wow.
be, y'all.
It's working. It's working. So
Yeah, I like that. I really like that. And you just got a lot to offer here.
yeah.
Yes, I mean, this is something that, we talked about this last year, that we've been wanting and wanting and
Mhm.
wanting for many, many, many years. And it was the city tried to start something like this back many years ago. And it,
Well, I
Just didn't
think
work.
this is going to probably improve the baseball teams, the programs, not the teams,
Right.
the baseball programs at every high school that we have. It's going to probably give some incentive for Little League,
yes,
for the things that used to be
right.
that
one
are
thing-
not as active as they used to be.
And one thing we implemented, we published this on social media, and we're pushing it hard this month, is that if you are a youth sports team, not just baseball or softball, but anything, and you want to raise funds for your team,
Nice.
you can reach out to Dylan Hughes, go to our website, all the information's there,
Mhm.
and you could sell tickets on behalf of the Ospreys and get a cut of those tickets. So if a team sells, say,
Nice.
250 tickets total, they can get up to $1,000 for their sports program,
Hmm.
and that gives the kids, getting some skin in
Oh,
in
absolutely.
the fundraising efforts, And same
Wow,
thing.
what a brilliant plan that is.
So I think that's launching. We had Southwest Youth Sports League. They have 215 youth. They're going to mobilize all of them to help sell Osprey tickets. So
Nice.
anything we can do to work with our community. Yeah.
That's good. That's going to be it's going to be a good year.
Yes, it is.
May 31st for y'all.
May 31th.
First game, is that Saturday?
That's a Saturday.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be it.
We're
That'll
playing
be the
against
Saturday
the-
after Memorial Day.
Playing against the
Memorial
New
Day
Bern
Monday.
Southpaws. So New Bern's going
Yes.
to come down here. We'll show them how baseball's done and send them back home.
Well, it'll be a long trip home.
Yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, I'll put all
Sorry,
your
Herbert.
information on our pages here on our social media, where to go to take a look at your page, and tickets, schedules, promotions, team partners, and much, much more. So,
Yeah.
and merchandise. I got this one last year. It's a Jacksonville Ospreys like a Yeti.
I've seen it once or twice.
Yeah, he's seen it quite a bit.
And we just launched yesterday. We just published on social media. You can custom order a jersey.
Oh,
And we even revealed the
Really?
Silly Goose jersey if you want to take a look at it.
nice.
And you can get a name drop on the back
Yeah.
with a number.
Hmm.
It's a 4 to 6 week lead time. We're taking orders now, so we can submit those by mid-March and have those definitely shipped to our customers before well ahead of the season.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rayford's got a hat.
Make a note.
We all have
we
shirts.
need to get a jersey and put up in here.
Yes. Yes.
We get you a signed one. You guys want one signed by the team?
Great. We'll,
Yeah.
we'll put one up in here.
Yeah,
We'll get that going.
We'll put
Okay.
that right up on the wall there.
All right, that'd be good. Wasn't
Yes.
asking, but I was just saying we need to. That would be a great one to add here.
Fan gear.
To go with our
Excuse me.
Cardinals.
I saw you have a player, and that's for your players to
Yeah.
put their gear.
Precisely.
Now, is there any way that maybe somebody here like wants to donate to help a player
Mhm.
buy his own gear? Is there?
Yeah, there's actually, believe it or not, there's a few players on scholarship just because financial situations. We
Mhm.
only charge $250 for our players to basically play, and it's pretty much goes to uniforms. At the end of the season, they keep them. They want to give them to their host families. They want to give them to aunt, uncle, whatever the case may be, because these uniforms are rather. That cost for the players dropped significantly. The fee was much higher our first year because we had a lot more expenses. Thanks for sponsor support. We hope that by next year there is no player fee. The goal is
would
just
be
to have the
nice.
players show up and not have to worry about finances at all. A lot of our food sponsors for our game day sponsors to provide meals to the players after the game. They're providing food vouchers. So these players on their off days, they can get a bite to eat because,
Yep.
they're college kids. They're not necessarily making
Oh,
money,
they don't have a lot of money.
and they eat a lot of food. So
Yeah.
I can understand
They will-
that.
they
we'll
will
take
eat-
food donations all
They
day,
will
every
eat
day.
whatever you buy them.
Yes.
That's
we'll do
pretty
that.
cool. That's pretty cool. So, how did your season end 2024? What are
Yeah,
stats on that?
stats. So
First
we're
time.
20 and 15 overall in our conference. We're at the bottom, but a lot of games were tight, especially once more
Yes,
pitchers
they were.
arrived. We had actually a very great second half or July. Going this season, in order to make the playoffs, the whole season is going to be one long season, not a first and second half. Everybody will play at least one game in the first round of playoffs. So we actually have an extra game potentially at home, and then go from there. I can tell you the players that are returning are faster, stronger, and better. And then the players that we recruited that reached out to us. I mean, I own a university, D1 University out of New York. Coach messaged us on Twitter back in September. I called him, tell him about the program. He said, look, you don't have to sell me on it. Jordan Overton, he played on the Brunswick team. He powered you guys. He wants to play with you guys next year. I said, yeah.
Defectors.
An hour later, we had him signed. The guy has power. So, the word is spreading. I think our roster, which was great last year, we had great chemistry among the players. But frankly, the roster is definitely taking a step up as far as
Actually.
Oh,
Good.
yeah.
I like it. I like it.
I think you did fantastic last year. First year.
Mm.
I mean, there's nothing at all there to be ashamed about.
there's going to be a lot of fun and crazy things going on at the ballpark. I guarantee you, if last year people had fun, wait till you see what we have in store for this year.
Mhm.
Okay. Well,
I
that's
can't wait. I
that's
can't
wonderful.
wait.
Folks, this is the month of March. I mean, what today's the 4th. We're early March. And it's not that far away. March,
3
April,
months,
and
less than 3
May.
months.
Schedule's already up, and you can buy single tickets for that too. So you don't want to buy a package. May 31st, New Bern at Jacksonville Ospreys baseball.
Oh, let's go.
Isn't that your All Star Day too?
June 28th is the All-Star game.
Let's-
Oh, that's right.
also
That's
on
what
that
you
list.
said. Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's make sure
Ooh,
that
New Bern first.
Melbourne, we need to let y'all know about Jacksonville.
That's right.
You bring it on.
Oh, then the Coastal Coconuts,
That's a collegiate team out of Virginia. So, yeah.
the War Dogs.
So that's an exhibition game. We're actually playing against the Lejeune War Dogs, which is a local men's team.
Mhm.
But it's really just to raise money. We're going to donate some of the ticket sale
That
revenue
is so
to them.
cool.
About lining up maybe a dog, a veteran
Oh,
service
good.
animal
Yeah,
before
yeah,
the
yeah.
game. So that's really just a collaboration, fun game. If you
I-
seen Savannah Bananas baseball,
I love them.
guess what? All the other games we got to play by the rules, but this
Right.
particular game, I can tell you, we're not going to play by the rules. And we're going to have
That's-
some crazy antics going on.
That's
whole
the
game.
War Dogs.
The War Dog. It's going to be a
Oh,
7-inning game
man.
because it's going to be a school
write
night,
that
so it'll be a
down. I'll
little
make sure.
shorter. But
Yep.
it's going to be a
I'll be
silly night. We're gonna
That's
we're gonna try some things we
Gonna
never
break every rule
never
in the
even
book.
done.
I love the Savannah Bananas.
We're even gonna
book.
ask. We're even gonna get our umpires. Hopefully, to dress up a little different. It's gonna be a fun night.
Well, I noticed you've got a couple of them that to be announced. Here's a thought. Rayford and I were talking about this. You should take, the sheriff's office and the police department have their own baseball teams. I mean,
They do?
every year they
do.
every year they
They
have
do battle.
they do a battle.
How about the best of the two?
The two
Let the two of
against
them
the
go against the
Ospreys.
Ospreys.
I like it.
Yes.
Well, the
Yes.
two we announced ones actually we need to adjust that Laurenburg Hooligans. We knew the team was
All
coming
right.
until it was inked and everything on the league side. So we'll get that TBA changed here right away.
Yeah, but you
But,
could still like the game before the game or something.
Yeah,
Well,
Maybe
I would
even in-
pay double for that one.
we
The
probably-
one
maybe we
that
can
I would
last-
like to see would be the Rayford, North Carolina Police Department. Wonder if they got a team.
I wonder if they do.
Oh, I will.
Oh, no.
And then
Look
just
at
a,
the pitch.
a shout out to.
I can show them how to cheat.
I don't know. We won't. Well, yeah, we work it out. You need all the help you can get. I'm just kidding. But another thing too, if anyone wants to get a little peek of the field ahead of time, because a lot of people when they see a
Right.
picture, like, wow, I didn't know we had such a beautiful ballpark
Oh,
right
it's
here in Jacksonville.
beautiful. Yes.
I said, yes, it is there. Come out and check it out. And so Jacksonville High School, Coach Josiah is the head coach over there. They're going to have a game in late April against Southwest. It's a big rivalry. They're actually going to play at Jack Emiette. It's going to be a ticketed event for the high school. So all proceeds are going to the high school baseball team.
Would be
So there'll be
cool.
concessions and things
There
there. So
you go.
we'll post that on social media here.
Yes,
soon.
yes, I'll keep up with that.
Oh,
Yeah,
it'd
that
be
would
really
be
help
great.
support
cool
local baseball teams.
if I could get somebody that I know with a really nice, who's a photographer, with a drone at one of the games to
Mhm.
get a photograph and to make that one of the team photographs that they could use it for publicity.
I still think you should get every high school to send their mascot out and have a mascot war.
Oh, yeah, that's on the docket. That's on the docket.
I think that would be so.
A mascot war.
The bird's going to win.
Give every one of them a bat,
Yeah, get out there and they could just, whatever.
dance, strut their stuff.
Silly Goose Sammy may be in trouble.
I'll tell you, that Silly Goose, he is, if you think of Orville as the Marine, Sammy the Silly Goose is once prior service, but now he's relaxed. He is silly as can be. Orville and him are going to be, Orville's going to be trying to keep Sammy in check,
Yeah.
but I'm sure he's going to have a tough time this season. So it's gonna be
Okay,
fun.
the antics are on. This is going to be a good year.
This is
Oh,
going to be
All
a
right.
great year.
Ellie,
Can't wait.
thank you.
Yes.
We
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
you coming in.
Well, thanks for having me. Sorry, I'm running a little late today.
Oh,
no,
you're
you were
fine. You're good to
It
go.
ended up working out perfect. So Sheriff stayed a little bit later, and then we.
We'll issue the challenge for you I bet the chief and the sheriff would get together and get all stars between the two of them.
Well, the chief is dancing with the stars.
I
So,
know that.
what
Wonder
up
if
to
we could do
you?
What?
He would have been good for dancing with the
No, he needs
stars.
to do next year.
We'll think
That's how I
about
met my
it.
wife dancing, doing salsa and bachata. And
Or you could go with
My
together
wife
as a
is a
couple.
great dancer.
Oh,
But
yeah, she's a
Well,
pretty
she
woman,
needs, she
too.
needs to go to first
I just
year.
had enough
Yeah.
skills to win it over. A little
That would
bit.
be cool. That would be so cool.
It'd be good to have her
Yeah.
next year, though, for this year they're ready to go. But
I think they're ready to go.
get her to do it the first year, then she could become a professional.
Ah.
Then she could invite him to
She,
do the
imagine
second
she's so
year.
busy. She's
I
like,
know.
quit
Wait,
volunteering me right now.
We just volunteered her. I seem
Yes.
to know somebody
Yes.
who's
That's a great event. We go every year to Dancing Stars.
Right,
of Onslow.
right.
It's always a good
Yes.
turnout there.
you didn't go the
Great.
year I was in it.
2 years ago we didn't go, but last year
This
we
was
did go.
2012. You
Yeah,
weren't
this
around
was
here.
Well, I was-
1999.
I think I had a newborn baby that year. So
Yes, bless you.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna keep up with you. And we'll make arrangements to have y'all come back and
Okay. Sounds good.
and do that. But yeah,
Ellie,
I got
thank
all
you.
your information.
when we
out
get the
there.
jerseys in, we'll let you know. We can
Yes.
so we can
We
maybe
could wanna-
reveal them here.
I will,
Yes.
I will put one up here strategically placed.
Yes,
Awesome.
we're gonna
We're redoing things as we go
redoing
along.
things. Yes, we've got couches moved right now and everything. But
Yeah, we're working on something in here for today.
yes,
Ellie, thank you. Good
Appreciate
luck.
you guys.
Thank you so much. So glad you were
Folks,
able
we
to
will
come
see you
in.
tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday, right?
It is.
We got Dr. Rose will be chatting with us.
medical day.
We got things to talk about, and then we got Peter Wright he's gonna have a talk about Medicare, Medicaid, and I got to ask him, why do these people keep calling me wanting me to buy some burial insurance? I get those. I got 2 yesterday. I said, what do you know? Have you been talking to my doctor? What is going on here? Anyway,
They know everything.
yeah, they think. I taught them a couple of lessons yesterday.
Oh. Taught them some new words.
Yeah, my Sailor days came back. You're live and local. Real talk. Where we're always awake and never woke. We'll see you in the morning. Have a great day. Be safe. It's going to be sort of sloppy at times, but be careful.